Hey there gamers, and welcome to my 1 month with the Powkiddy X18 video. Basically going to cover what I've learned over the last month, how I've configured mine thus far, and where I plan to go with it. So let's just get started on how the hardware is held up. It's actually pretty decent. I have had nothing break on it. The buttons are all working. I haven't noticed that button crossing problem that some people have had, but I don't play a lot of fighting games, so that might be something that shows up in the future as I try more fighting games with it. The battery life has been maybe around 2 hours on average, depending on what I'm doing. It looks really great. One problem I have had is that I constantly catch my finger on this edge here. Like when I open it, it will constantly pinch my finger. Has anybody else had that? I want to know if it's just a me thing because of my big old pterodactyl hands, or whether that is something everybody else suffers. But anyway, the D-pad works really well. These analog sticks are, as I mentioned earlier, just great. These buttons are completely passable, and the general frame and construction looks really good. So that's a plus. One of the first things I did is change the launcher in here because I think the original one's awful. I'm using TV launcher on here. I do have a video on how to do that switch, so if you want to know how to do it, just watch the video. I'll have it linked down below. But I've got it broken into 4 sections: system, applications, emulation, and games. And I don't have a whole lot of emulators on here yet, but one of the nicest things about this particular interface is that it pretty much all controls with the joystick and the buttons, so it works really well, and I think it's very attractive. I still have a few more icons to add, but over time I've definitely been adding plenty of icons. I think it looks good. Alright, currently for a file manager I'm using Mixplorer, which I think works really great. It's got a really decent interface and just really darn easy to use. So again, you could use the default interface. There's really nothing wrong with it, but this is small, and for me at least, it makes life a lot better. I'm probably going to go into all the features of this interface eventually in a video. I'm not going to really cover it too much here, but just note that you can just do a whole lot with this thing, and it's just very friendly and easy to use, so I highly recommend it. I use Opera as my browser, and I've also used Google Chrome in the past. It works okay, but when I'm messing with the Google services, because I still am trying to get Google Play services working, I find that it will make a mess out of it every once in a while, and it won't be able to run. So as long as I'm messing with that, I'm not going to put Google Chrome back on. But again, if you're not messing with Google Play services, you should just be fine with using Chrome. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about app stores. Aptoid is probably the most widely used app store on the X18. I don't like it a lot. Number one, because I don't really like, it's kind of strange considering I do emulation, but I really don't like pirating Android apps if I can avoid it, so I do definitely try to buy them. To that end, the Humble Bundle app does work just fine, but you gotta wait until they're selling some Android stuff to be able to use it decently. And of course, I've been using the Amazon App Store, which works just fine. And install the version that you get directly from Amazon. Don't use one of the knockoff site ones. I had a couple problems with those not working at all, or having problems connecting, but this one came right up and worked right away, and it's the official app, so there's no problems. I will try to link down to that below. If I forget, just leave me a comment and let me know that I didn't. One thing that you're definitely going to want to do before you go ahead and install this app is you're probably going to want to clear, there's a potentially unwanted program in there that it has the potential of stealing information off of the system. So you want to pull that off, and I do have a video on pulling that off coming up. If it's not out when this is posted, it will be out within a few days, so keep an eye out for that one. And it's a pretty easy process. I mean, you're gonna have to download some stuff to your PC, but it's not too bad, and it'll definitely be covered very soon. It's mostly recorded, so let's go on. All right, a little bit on storage. I'm going to tell you that I've used all three modes of storage. The two different types of internal storage for an external SD card, and just leaving it as portable storage. And I'm going to tell you that so far as I can tell, portable storage is still really the best and most usable solution. I've just basically got it formatted as a FAT partition, and it uses that to store all of its ROMs. And I can download things like, I can download an APK to it and install it, but it'll install my internal storage. So I use all my internal storage just for all my apps, and that appears to be the best way to use it. Otherwise, if I adopt it, which is just using it as internal storage, it doesn't expose it to the outside world, so I can't really use that for adding ROMs. And I can't actually browse to it using my file browser either, so I can't see that. And then doing it the other way really doesn't give me any advantages over using portable storage. And when I'm using portable storage, I can just pop it out, pop it into my computer, and just drop ROMs onto it. So I'm just just connect the Powkiddy itself and pop ROMs onto it that way. So I just don't see any advantages to using the internal storage unless you're doing a whole lot of app downloads, in which case you might want to use it then, and then use the internal for your ROM storage. But I'm going this way, and I recommend you do. And I haven't really seen any evidence, and I did read how Android manages storage, that there is any way to actually use that storage if it's formatted for app storage as anything else. So far as Android is concerned, it just doesn't work that way either. So this is the way I got it set up. All right, let's go on.
Thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, or I will go Skynet on your butt.
All right, emulation. There's a whole lot of emulators available, obviously, for the Android platform. I've had really good luck with PPSSPP, which is a PlayStation portable emulator. The PlayStation emulator is really great. I've been using Mupin 64 plus AE for N64 emulation. I've shown you those already, so you can watch the older video if you want to see those. I would totally get crap if I did cover a game system without playing a little bit of something. So I'll show you Redream, which is probably the least settings I've ever seen in an emulator. There is a paid-for version of it. I'm running the free one. I'm not going to upgrade to premium right now. Continue in light mode. What the premium version adds is high resolution textures to everything, and I think it looks just great right now. So I am not going to mess with it. But anyway, it does do a pretty good job. Obviously, like every emulator out there, it's not 100% perfect. Things do occasionally run a little bit slow right when they start out on here, but eventually they get going. And I'm just going to throw in Zero Gunner, which is the one I'm pretty sure is least likely to get flagged by Sega. So here's something to note. The output was super choppy out of HDMI and almost unplayable. So I'm just going to record off the screen, and this is the only app so far that has had that problem. I did try the old GPD XD trick of resetting with the HDMI plugged in, but that did not help. So since this is the only time I've seen it, I'm going to assume that it's just this application. Kind of weird. But anyway, not entirely unexpected, but kind of strange. But otherwise, it does work really, really well. It's a really cool game. If I had access to the flippers, which I don't now since I'm not using the big screen and I'm trying to record, I could show you how it rotates. Actually, wait, there's a second way to do it. See? I can rotate, try and get a better angle of fire. Really cool game. I do love my shooters. There we go. And boss battle, which I'm not going to do well at because, again, kind of restricted access to the controls here. Yep. And then it transforms. Oh, ran right into that. You get the idea. Alright, I'm going to play awful because I don't have proper access to the controls, but I did want to show you how well Daytona runs. It runs freaking great on here. And just nice and smooth, and a lot of race games do really well on this. The only one I really had a serious problem with was 18-Wheeler Pro American Trucker, which kills me because it's one of my favorite games on the system. That's really sad. I really wanted to be a good trucker. But this is some half-decent consolation. Also, Demolition Racer, no exit works on here, which is really great. Again, I haven't completely tested these, so I don't know that every track and everything works, but it certainly seems to play very smoothly. Let's go on. Boo. Let's take a look at PC Engine emulation, or TurboGrafx as we call it here in the States. You're not going to see the menu, so I will really quick get into a game. And I'm going to start with this, which is a bit of a disappointment. It seems to run the game fine, but there is some problems with the controls, and I don't know what's going on there. This is the only game, I think, that does this. But it's Zonk, and it's kind of an essential game. I might try some different ROMs, because I've noticed that this ROM set is like 100 years old, and it might be having some issues, but I haven't had issues on other emulators with it because I play this game quite a bit. Ooh. And this is what I'm talking about. There's just kind of this, you see how it's kind of moving weird. It doesn't always do what I want it to do, and it causes a whole lot of missteps. I mean, the game, I guess it's roughly playable in this state, but you wouldn't want to. So that's a problem. I'll check my ROM set and maybe I'll get back to you later on it, but again, other emulators haven't had a problem, and I played this ROM on a real TG16 and not have this issue go on. Oh well. And here's some Fantasy Zone. And the thing that's notable about this is the controls seem to work just fine for me on this game. So I imagine it's something specific to Zonk. But yeah. I mean, I still suck at the game, don't get me wrong, but it's really, yeah, appears to be just a problem with that particular game. Die, you little buggers. Yeah. Alright, let's go on. I wanted to show you at least one Android app, so I'm going to show you Monster Shooter 2, and it's pretty good. Enjoy it. It's a freebie. One thing you're going to want to absolutely do is go into the settings gear here, and you want to change the aim it starts at auto, you want to change it to manual because playing it in auto aim is no fun at all whatsoever. But playing it with manual aim is a blast. So let's just really quick play a level. And I'm going to change the shotgun out for the nailer. Upgrade it a couple times. Well, I have the money. Okay. No, I don't want to pay for anything. Alright, there we go. Let's play really nice little graphics on it. And I gotta go get pickups. Move it.
Rushing.
Okay. Oh, there it is. I want that money, though. The nailer kind of cracks me up. I like the streaks that it leaves in the road. Come on. Alright. Back to the machine gun. You can stay right away from me.
Vengeance.
I missed some pickups.
Unstoppable.
Something shooting lasers over there. I don't like the looks of that.
Vengeance. Total domination.
Mission complete. Here we go, just a quick level. So what are my feelings after a month of using the X18? Was it worth the $100 I paid for it? Well, thus far, yes. It still looks really good. It hasn't had any problems. The plastics have held up just fine. The screen is still just looking beautiful. I don't really expect dead pixels to show up anymore these days, but occasionally you do see it. Didn't see it on this. Screen's beautiful. The controls are still just working great, other than, of course, the creakiness of the D-pad, which I complained about at 1 week. It's still there. Has not broken in like I had hoped, but it's something to note. It does make a kind of squeaky noise. As far as emulation performance goes, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's not as consistent as I would like. That said, I've only used a few emulators on it, so it might get better or worse over time. We'll see how it is a little bit later. Its Android game performance is really good. The only thing that's really holding it back is the lack of a Google Play Store, which it's been partially, the pain's been partially taken away by having the Amazon App Store there. But it's still there. I mean, Google Play is still the biggest app store out there. And it does kind of suck not having Google Play services there still. And I miss out on a lot of games because of that. Now, I realize that you can use Aptoid to do it, but you take a risk of getting yourself viruses or spyware installed on here. Speaking of malware, pre-installed into the system is the 8ups firmware updater, which it's considered a potentially unwanted program, and it definitely is something you don't want on there, largely because it does collect data on you, a lot of data, and also theoretically, not even theoretically, it absolutely could be used to remote control your device from afar, at least execute commands on it. So you really want to get that thing off of there, and I do have a video coming out really soon on how to do that. One note is if you do remove it and you restore your system, it's going to be back on there. So don't, do a system restore afterwards, or at least remove it again if you do happen to do a system restore. So anyway, that's coming out. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the device at $100. I think it was pretty well worth it. It has a couple negatives about it, but all in all, yeah, I'm happy with it. So I'm going to give it a 1 month tentative thumbs up, pending some more emulation tests and even more Android testing, and I really hope I can get the Google Play Store on here so that I can have a lot more fun with it. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'll see you in a couple days. Bye!